I thought it's Mike.
I thought it was Mike too. Apparently it's
Isn't it
moin.
Moink.
Moin, because they think the fish is mine.
Oh.
Mine. So they're like moin.
Yeah,
Which
actually that makes sense lah.
right? But it sounds like Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Moin.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Oat Milk Lesbians.
Hi everyone.
So on today's episode, we are going to be reviewing the Lesbian Masterdoc, which we have actually read quite a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, back then we were a lot younger, so, you know, we didn't kind of reflect too much on it. We were just like, yeah, I feel like this. But we read through it again this morning, and there were a bunch of stuff there that was kind of questionable.
Yeah. So we're here to talk about it, and also because like the Lesbian Masterdoc is kind of like the lesbian Bible in a way. So we're gonna determine if we actually still need it as a Bible. Because like, you know, when you see on Twitter and stuff like that, you will see some sentiments of people having issues with the Masterdoc.
Yeah.
Like people saying it's outdated, people saying it's biphobic, people saying it's like doesn't make sense and all this stuff. So anyway, we read it again for ourselves to see, like, to review what these sentiments were on about.
Mm-hmm.
And we have our thoughts.
Yeah. Honestly, there are a lot of stuff that was written there that I was like, yeah, I relate to that. But there's also like a bunch of stuff that is written there that I was kind of like, you know what, this isn't actually applicable.
Yeah.
Like, because straight people do this too and all of that. Like, it's a very kind of... I feel like if the person was actually in person and we get to talk to them, we probably get to understand it better. But because, like, you know, they're not... We can't actually have a conversation with them, so we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So reading the Masterdoc again, like I remember I read it when I was like 19 or 20. That was when I was bisexual and I was like still unsure if I was bisexual. So I read the Masterdoc and I was like, wait, maybe I'm a lesbian? Because like I thought about some of the things and I was like, yeah, actually it does feel like I'm forcing some of these things. It doesn't actually feel natural. It doesn't actually feel like I'm actually bisexual. So actually, like I would say personally, the Masterdoc at the time when I read it, I was like influenced by it because I thought that it made sense to me. Which actually now when I read it again, like when we were reading just now, I felt like it did make sense to me, and I still deeply do relate to a lot of the things they say. It's just that I'm starting to notice like some of the more doesn't make sense part of it.
Yeah. And I forgot what we read already. Everything's like out of my head right now.
Let me get my phone.
Yeah, hold up. I also need to get my phone.
Okay.
Wait, I want to backtrack. I fucking save it to my iBooks.
Oh, you save it to your iBooks?
Yeah, so I don't have to...
Okay, I think the first thing that should be addressed obviously is the fact that they are using the old flag. So this old flag was made by someone who was basically a TERF lah, like a very trans exclusionary lesbian. Actually, who wrote this Masterdoc?
Yeah, I'm Googling right now.
I need to know who wrote that. Because like, yeah, the person created this flag was a TERF, and then in return, like, someone else made a new flag. Was it Emily?
Angeli Luz, the author of the Masterdoc, originally posted the document in 2018 anonymously with the intention of helping women... Fuck, I lost it.
Wait, what's her name? How do you spell her name?
Angeli Luz. Angeliluz. With the intention of helping women reflect upon the influences of com had in their lives. She surely achieved a purpose when it came to me, though I've still got blah, blah, blah. I feel like she made a lot of good points for sure, but there are like some things that seems to invalidate some people as well. And I can to a certain extent understand why people would think it's biphobic as well, because there were things that like she mentioned that like, oh, being a lesbian means you prioritize dating women. Like that still means there is to a certain extent like some women can still have attraction towards men, but she says that like, oh, you prioritize dating women. I don't think I don't think that's necessarily true lah. I think she's like speaking in terms of like, oh, she's speaking in terms of like, okay, she's imagining the other person on the receiving end reading this that like, oh, they still think they're bi. Maybe that's why she wrote it like that. But in general, when you read it as like a full-on lesbian and you're already sure of your sexual orientation, of course it definitely sounds biphobic one.
Yeah.
But I think it does sound biphobic.
Yeah, actually it is pretty biphobic because like one of the common comments about this Masterdoc that is biphobic, and not gonna lie, in the beginning when I first read it as a bi person, I didn't think it was biphobic. And then
Yeah.
that was when I became a lesbian. But now when I'm a lesbian, I'm reading it back, I actually do think it's biphobic.
Yeah. I
'Cause,
think
like,
so too.
Yeah, because the thing is, okay, I kind of understand one thing where the author was like, you know, when you feel like you might like men, but actually it's like com hair and everything. I agree with that, and that even if you feel that you have attraction towards them, then but you don't want to date them. But there are some bisexual people who are like that though. Like I think they still do experience attraction, and they may not want to date that person, but their sense of attraction is different from, like, let's say a lesbian sense of attraction towards men.
Yeah.
Like lesbians generally find men aesthetically attractive. They
Yes.
don't actually find them like romantically or sexually attractive.
Correct.
So yeah, so that's the thing. Like the thing is, even though if like a bi person doesn't want to date men or whatever, it doesn't mean that like they are
They're
lesbian.
fully lesbian, yeah.
Because I feel like attraction at the end of the day is really up to how you determine yourself lah, you know. And I don't think that just because you experience attraction, it means it's just com-het. Some people genuinely do experience attraction. And for me, like for me, I know for sure I experience com-het because I do know that my attraction is very like it's pretty much a lot of the things that she says in the Masterdoc. It's force and also like I don't see myself in the future, all these things, and especially the one that I relate to the most, where the blank face one.
Yeah.
I don't have fantasies about men, but like whenever I have dreams about men, it's very like their face is blank. So that's when I kind of knew I was like I wasn't actually bisexual at all. So but it's very different for everyone. It's very different. Like
Yeah. I think back then when we read it, the reason why we didn't think it was biphobic was because we're like, hey, actually this is us. This is like, we actually relate to this. Like we're actually not. During then, we think that we are still possibly attracted to men because we're still not sure what attraction really was yet back then.
Yeah.
So I think that's why.
Yeah, and then also like the other things that were mentioned that I think we were kind of confused is the self-harm with men.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I don't understand what that means as well. Like, does it mean that you just put yourself in a compromising position?
I genuinely do not understand what that means.
Yeah, I don't understand what that means, and it's been repeated a few times in the Masterdoc as well. Like, self-harm with men, like self-harm with like sexual relationships with men. So I don't know what that means, unless like maybe you're forcing yourself to have sex with men even though you don't like it. But that's very confusing, and actually that should have been elaborated.
Yeah, I wish she would have elaborated more. I feel like maybe there's some things in here that she said that was like kind of confusing or like invalidating, but I feel like if she actually properly elaborated on all of these things, we would have a clearer understanding of it, and it wouldn't be so like right now.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yeah, other things that were kind of confusing is remember there was this one thing that we talked about, the one where it's like your attraction feels fake. Do you remember that?
Yes. Oh, your attraction feels fake because you think that like you're being fake because you're giving into compared that you like want attention. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that one is kind of true in a way. I did question myself, like, am I just attention seeking or whatever? Because I did tell you before, I remember I said that like my mom likes to scold me because she thinks that I'm a rebel, even though actually the way I live my life is very different from hers. It's not that I want to rebel against her. So I did question myself, like, am I being trendy by being a lesbian or whatever? But then obviously like these are not the kind of things that you want to just rebel without a reason.
Yeah.
And I've been lesbian for a few years right now already, so it's not a phase, mom.
It's not. Oh my god. No, I'm still not over the mental illness thing. Wait,
the mental illness. There was this mental illness
there's this
thing.
one point, right, that was so fucking funny. She was like, confusing your
confusing your...
Fuck, let's just find that point again. What page was it?
Can you do Control F here? Yeah, one of the things I relate to, dreading what it feels like an inevitable domestic future with a man, but I want a domestic future with a woman. It's different.
I'm still trying to find a mental illness. That one was so fucking funny. I have to read out. Confusing a strong emotional connection / dependency with a man for romantic feelings can be due to mental illness. That is like fucking hilarious. Although I don't really understand it. I don't know why that would be considered mental illness. If she's actually writing this seriously, right? If you say sarcastically, yeah, I'll laugh at it lah. But if you're writing it seriously, I don't understand how that is considered mental illness if you just mix it up.
Yeah.
Like, how is that considered mental illness? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the one, right, when she mentioned that like as a lesbian with com hat, you tend to like want to find the manliest man, the one with the most man characteristics to be your crush and shit like that. Like you know
It's
the
true.
man. Yeah, that one's really true.
That is so true because like lesbians know what are considered conventionally attractive men.
Yes.
You can actually say that lesbians have better taste in men than in straight women.
No, seriously though.
We actually do. Because
Yeah.
like the men that we find attractive is very different from men that straight women find attractive.
Yeah, seriously.
Because we actually pick conventionally attractive men.
Yes. And you know what? What I realized is that the men that I picked to be attracted to last time, like the celebrities lah. For example, Taeyang and Taylor Lautner. Do you realize these two men are like, let's say Taeyang is the best person, the most like respectable or nicest or polite or respectful man there is in Big Bang.
Yeah.
And how Taylor Lautner, out of all of Taylor Swift exes, only Taylor Lautner is the respectful man and an actual good partner. Like I feel like we actually generally have better taste in men than straight women.
Exactly, yeah.
Even like character-wise.
Yeah.
But for when it comes to women, we're like, fuck, we just choose the fucking stupidest fucking bitch out there lah. What the fuck?
Stupidest, oh my
I don't know,
God.
this is a fucking curse lah.
Yeah, I used to be talking about Taeyang all the damn time as well. And I'll tell people, you know, I know his name. His name is Dong Yong Bae. Like his real name. But yeah, it just be like that. But I think, yeah, it's very true lah. Like all these feelings of like, oh, inevitable future with men and everything is a very dreading feeling. That's something that definitely like, if you're a lesbian and you read all this in the Masterdoc, you can definitely relate to it.
The thing is that okay, maybe I didn't read it properly, but I didn't feel like a dreading feeling with the future with a man for some fucking reason.
Okay.
But I just felt like nothing. I felt nothing. It's not something I look forward to, but it's not like, ugh. I think maybe because I'm the type who likes romance, so you know how like you always watch those like Christmas movies and there's a nice romance thing, and I'm like, oh, I want that. And then I never like really ever imagined myself in that situation with a man or a woman. It's just like, oh, I want that. So I never really like dreaded it lah. So that particular part, I was kind of like, whatever. I couldn't really relate to it.
Understandable.
Maybe because I also never really properly dated a man, so.
Yeah, when I was with all my boyfriends, I dreaded if I had to marry them. I was like, ain't no way. And not all of them were bad. I actually dated one guy who's considered like excellent. He's an amazing boyfriend. It's just that I just could not be with him because, I mean, yeah, it's just, I feel like I could not be with him. I couldn't explain it at the time, but I really didn't understand what. But I think anybody who's his girlfriend is super lucky. But that's the point, you know, like, it doesn't matter whether I date a bad man or a good man, the outcome is still the same. I genuinely dread having to have a future or a marriage with a man. So it's a very unexplainable feeling at the time. And I thought I was just pretty much like a lot of the things that this Masterdoc say, like I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought I was just commitment phobic and everything. Commitment phobic. Yeah, but the worst part is I didn't even cheat on any of those men. So I definitely do not have commitment phobic. But the point is, at the time, in terms of marriage, I was like wondering if I had issues lah. Yeah, but then I was like, I think I just could not be with a man. Period. Yeah. Other things in this Masterdoc, the other things which is like, yeah, basically it's also saying things about how like, oh, if you were attracted to men before but you don't think that that is what it is right now, then you can also be considered a lesbian. I think, to be honest, that is really like up to debate. Because like, for example, I don't know lah, I think some people like maybe back then they did have like genuine feelings or something, but then, you know, when you're young, you tend to be more open to feeling things. And maybe those were genuine feelings, maybe those were not, but I don't think it's very like definitive, like, oh, if you don't like them anymore, then you're a lesbian now. Maybe some people can look back and be like, yeah, I did like that man, like actually properly like that man, but maybe I'm bisexual. I think that one is really up to you to decide lah, like what you're comfortable with to label yourself. Just because right now then you are like with women, it doesn't mean that, you know, back then it's like whatever, like I'm a lesbian. Yeah.
The thing is that for me also, okay, for that particular thing, right, I actually did have genuine feelings for men.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
But it's very rare lah. I did have genuine feelings. But then, even when I look back now, right now, I'm still like, yeah, I'm a lesbian. Like, I don't think that will ever happen again. But there was one point in time I did have genuine feelings.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much all.
I'm very back and forth with like how I felt about men back then, because like obviously I spent most of my life being straight more than I was bisexual or even lesbian. And at the time, like I would say that it felt real to me, but when I look back, right, if I stayed with them, I definitely would still have all these feelings coming up. These feelings of not wanting to be with them forever and everything. But obviously at the time when you're in comhead is actually so powerful. Like you just don't know to what extent it can make you feel like that is it, like your life is like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the time when I was with all these men, I was just like even though like, you know, at the time I was with them and maybe I didn't really question myself at the time too, until like feelings started to resurface for different women, I think it would still be the same outcome. I would still be a lesbian, you know? So I think that's why probably like sometimes for some people, at the end of the day, you will still be a lesbian.
Yeah, there's this one that was like, okay, there's this one part where she mentioned that like you don't desire for sex with men, like even after having sex with men, because right, during this time I identified as bisexual, and then my friend, Jean, she, after I had sex with a man, she was like, because during that time she had a lot of like FWBs, she like kept having sex with people lah, having sex with men lah. And then she asked me lah, she was like, how was it? Don't you feel like you want more? I'm like, no, I don't. And I just after I had sex with men, I was just kind of like, that was kind of mid. I didn't feel anything. Like, I don't, what was that? And then, but then I had the desire of wanting more after I had sex with women. So
yeah. My first sex with a man was, it was very short because he felt bad. He was religious and everything. And I thought like, okay, maybe if we got married and had sex longer, it might be better. But then afterwards we broke up, and then I started like still continue having sex with other men. And I didn't find whatever they were talking about in any of these men except with women. Yeah, surprisingly, I found that in women. And I was telling you that time, right? The first time I was about to eat pussy, I was like, I know I'm never going to go back anymore. Before I even ate the pussy, I just looked at it and I just knew my life is over. I'm a lesbian forever. I was like, oh my god, you should have seen like, I mean, obviously the girl didn't see at the timeline. She was like lying on the bed, right? But for me, when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, that's it. It's over for me.
Damn.
I'm never going back. So I don't know, yeah, sometimes it's just all these kind of like innate feelings about yourself that you just never really got the chance to explore, give it a chance. And once you do, you never go back, that kind of thing.
Honestly, I cannot absorb too much from reading the Masterdoc. 31 fucking pages.
Yeah, 31 fucking pages.
But I feel like, honestly, I feel like it should have been longer and less repetitive. Longer, less repetitive, and more elaborations on each of the points that she was making. If not, like, it's hard to understand some of them lah.
Yeah, exactly.
And it came out only in 2018. That was quite late though.
That was quite late, yeah. And I'm surprised this writer is not as famous as she is.
Wait, did you stalk her?
Yeah, I went to her Instagram, yeah.
Wait, let me. What's her name? Angeli Luz,
yeah.
How to spell?
Angeli space Luz. Who is the creator of that freaking turf flag? Creator of
only 1.6k followers. What the hell?
Yeah, of the lipstick lesbian flag.
Do people not know that she wrote the Lesbian Masterdoc?
It's Natalie McCrae.
Do people not know that she wrote the Lesbian Masterdoc? What the hell?
Okay, a brief and very online version of the lesbian pride flag. So as you all know, the pride flag that just has like all those pink shades, right, was created by this person called Natalie McCrae. This flag features 7 stripes in various shades of red and pink with a lipstick marked on top of the left corner. But the thing is, Natalie McCrae is actually a TERF. She also had some very bigotry comments in her blog, which is now deleted already. So hence, somebody who is a non-binary lesbian called Emily Gwen in 2018 created the Sunset Lesbian flag, which is the lesbian flag that we use right now. So yeah, this one includes the color of dark orange and coral orange, and that resembles gender non-conformity and independence. So yeah, Emily now is the creator of the lesbian flag.
This Angeli Luz is now a spiritual counselor.
Damn.
And a therapy student and does Reiki. Damn. Her profile memang like macam tak ada that much of like queer stuff. Only her bio has like the gay flag. That's crazy though. People don't know that she wrote the Lesbian Masterdoc when all lesbians know the Lesbian Masterdoc but don't know her.
They don't know her. Actually, all these like flag creators or Masterdoc creators, not a lot of people know them that much. They just know like the flag and the Masterdoc. All these like iconic things, but they don't know the actual creators. And the creators are pretty low key too. I've never seen Emily Gwen's face before. Let me search up her face. Emily Gwen flag, yeah.
Angeli Luz looks like a femme.
Yeah, she does.
I'm actually really sleepy right now.
I am. Okay, I cannot find pictures of I cannot
That
find pictures
low
of her.
key.
Yeah, even Natalie McRae, I couldn't find pictures of her. But maybe I'm not searching hard enough, that's why. But you know, that's the thing, it should be out like pretty out there.
You know what I really feel like? I feel like all those other like popular lesbian podcasters should also have these kind of people on the fucking podcast episode. Like if we were in the same like country as them, I would definitely like want to like sit down with Angeli Luz and like ask her about it and talk to her about it because there's so many things I don't understand. And I feel like if you talk to them about it, there'll be like more insights about it as well.
Yeah, maybe we would understand their perspective better.
Yeah. Hold up.
Actually, let's search up Lesbian Masterdoc on Twitter and see what people say about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I don't understand why people think it's outdated. Why do people think it's outdated?
Yeah. Wait. Everyone is talking about Renee Rapp and the Lesbian Masterdoc.
Oh,
Thinking about the time I saw someone say the Lesbian Masterdoc made them feel invalidated as a bisexual. Isn't that like the point? If you're bisexual and all your feelings are validated and represented in the lesbian, then maybe you aren't bisexual. What?
actually, it makes a lot of sense though. If you do
Yeah.
feel invalidated by the master dog, that means you're not a lesbian, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That actually makes sense, yeah, in a way.
Yeah, it should not be validating you. I mean, it's not to say that you know she's gonna fucking hate crime you with her words in the Lesbian Masterdoc, but it's just that it's meant for people who identify as bisexuals who are actually lesbian, trying to figure
Yeah.
out compat. It's for you to figure out whether you are giving into compat or not.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I guess also like because when I was reading it, a lot of the stuff, like for example, the most telling one was you are attracted to men but you prioritize having relationships with women or that. I think that one actually is probably bisexual people or pansexual people. Because like it's not that I prioritize having relationships with women. I have no choice.
Yeah.
Like I literally do not even
Yeah.
cannot be with men.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
So
I think that is the only thing in there that's like really biphobic and panphobic, whatever. Biphobic lah.
yeah, biphobic.
Everything else is kind of like meant for lesbians. That is the one sentence in there that I can think is biphobic.
Yeah. So perhaps like you would read all this stuff about. I think like the stuff that I can think about is mostly the attraction stuff, because they touch a lot about like questioning your own attraction to men and all of that, and like let's say if you feel that way about this man or that man, you are a lesbian or this and that. But I think the essence of the doc is just trying to tell you like, let's say if you feel all these things, it's likely that it is compat. And I would say it's true for me because I feel like actually a lot of the things I feel is compat, and like now that I'm a full-blown lesbian, I really do not give a shit about men at all. I do not try to force myself to like men. I do not need to pretend that I find this or that man good looking. I do not need to whatever. So I think it's true for me, but I can see how like as a bisexual person when you're reading it and then they say that just because you feel this doesn't mean you're that, it's actually you're a lesbian. So, that is pretty invalidating to a bisexual person.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think kind of like a bit no choice lah, there isn't much of a choice in the way that she kind of like phrases things, because that is what it is for lesbians. It is what it is for lesbians. That's the way things are for lesbians. But for bisexuals, no. So I don't think there's a choice when it comes to that. You as a bisexual probably find it invalidating, but for lesbians, when they read, they feel validated.
Yeah. And there's like some changes you will realize if you're a lesbian who reads the Masterdoc. Like for example, what I just said, like I do feel that the way I experience attraction and how I navigate attraction is also very different. After I read the Masterdoc, I was like, do I really like I start questioning myself, do I really? And then right now I don't feel the need to keep proving anything to myself or like other people. I think I'm very like certain with my attraction and I'm certain with what I like, and it feels very calming lah. So yeah.
I think at the end of the day, right, we just have to understand like what content that's being put out, who is their target market? And then only we can like, you know, understand the intentions of it and not just directly straight up say this is biphobic, that is that. Like, you know, you get what I mean. As in general lah, I'm not saying that she's not completely biphobic. There are some things in there that are a bit biphobic, but it's really important to understand the context and like who the target market is. If you're not the target market, it's definitely going to be invalidating. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously you don't want to read all this and then be like, oh, but that's not me, you know. Actually, bisexuals should have a bisexual master dog. Is there one?
My question right now is, why would bisexuals need a bisexual master dog?
To clarify if they are bisexual or lesbian. I don't know.
That's what the lesbian master dog is for, what? To clarify if you're bisexual or lesbian, ma.
That's true. Okay, I see something on Reddit is a thread. Wait. Is there a bisexual master dog? Because I feel like the lesbian master dog confused me more than clarify anything. If not, what would be in it?
I think a bisexual and a lesbian has to sit down together and write a bisexual master dog. For them to like differentiate. Because this lesbian master dog is only for lesbians. Then if it can be expanded further from a bisexual's perspective, it will help people who are bi more.
Oh, this is interesting. The Michigan Daily wrote a article saying the lesbian master dog is not just for lesbians. It's a document that asks you to consider the nuances behind one simple question. Are you a lesbian? That makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, let me read about it. Yeah, they're actually just recapping the whole thing. Reading this document can be a vulnerable experience, but you might find something that helps you strengthen your relationship with your sexuality, no matter what that sexuality is. It may take a while to get to the point where we can all spot comhat whenever it influences us, but reading this document was the first step for me, and it might be the first step for you. I think it's for anyone who's queer lah, but then like it's probably not if you are like bisexual. I actually found am I a bisexual master dog? But let me see if it's like legit.
Okay.
It's loading. But basically the description is like, am I bisexual? Determining bisexuality. What is biphobia? How does it affect me? Bisexual erasure, monosexism. The effects of comhat on bisexuality. Actually, what is monosexism? Oh, it loaded. Oh my god.
It looks the same.
Yeah, it looks the same. If you guys can see, it's like the flag and then they have all these pointers.
Can you send it to me?
Yeah. Damn. This is interesting. I didn't even know there was a bisexual master dog. Actually, all bisexuals should read this master dog and tell us if you relate to it. Oh, these are pretty interesting questions. What if I don't want to date a certain gender? What if I'm only romantically attracted? What if I'm only attracted to fictional characters? What does it mean to be pansexual? Interesting. Everybody, you should read this Am I a Bisexual Master Dog? It's on docdroid.net. Christian V. Dolan, a scholar on monosexism, describes monosexism this way. A form of oppression that promotes exclusive heterosexual, lesbian, or gay male behaviors as the only legitimate concepts of sexual orientation. While many people often refer to biphobia as a means of describing prejudice towards bisexual people, monosexism takes a step further. Monosexism is a more active approach to suppressing bisexuality and oppressing bisexual people. It comes in the forms of violence and harmful laws made to oppress or suppress bisexuals or bisexuality. Even within the LGBTQ+ community, it can come in the form of exclusion of bisexuals from pride events, activities, or communities, especially if they're dating someone of a different gender. In a monosexist society, bisexuality is often depicted as immoral and therefore in need of eradication. This can lead to monosexism becoming an internal struggle as well as external, where we feel like bisexuality is something we must fight. Internalized biphobia often causes you to hate who you are. Monosexism encourages you to suppress who you are. Keep in mind that bisexuality is no more moral or immoral than other sexuality. Just like anybody else, you cannot help the way you feel no more than a straight, gay, or lesbian person can. Bisexuality is natural, it's human, it's valid, it's real.
Interesting. Wait, I want to read.
Yeah, I think I'm learning a lot of like new things here.
Why does it feel like this is more elaborate than the Lesbian Master Dog? This feels more elaborate than the Lesbian Master Dog. Oh my god.
There's 53 pages here.
Yeah.
Bisexual Master
and
Dog.
And it's all full paragraph, you know, with proper like explanation.
Yeah. For ours, it was just like 38, I think. 38 pages.
31 pages.
31 pages.
Half of it is point form. This is, I think this is a lot more elaborate. Oh my god.
Yeah, honestly, like if you read this, if you're a bisexual person and you want to like know more, I think you should read this because actually
Yeah.
I'm browsing through like some of the stuff and it sounds pretty
It's very in depth.
explanatory.
It's properly explained, not like the Lesbian Masterdoc. You know what? I really think the Lesbian Masterdoc needs to be rewritten.
Yeah. We're gonna write it. Well, there's a lot of these like questions that I feel like people generally have.
Yeah.
For example, I'm attracted to men and or enjoy sex with them, but I somehow feel uneasy about staying in a long-term relationship with them. So for lesbians, it may be comhet, but they are not romantically or sexually attracted to them. But because like bi people have an attraction to them, when they have internalized biphobia, it can lead to a sense of guilt and also like for being attracted to women or a fear of dissatisfaction in long term because you are bisexual. This can come from an unreconciled relationship with one's bisexuality and external biphobia around you. Comhead usually encourages us to accept men as partners, but it often causes us to push aside our attraction, especially to other genders.
You know, one thing about like all this queer thing and lesbian and bisexual thing, I feel like the lines to a certain extent it gets really blurred when it comes to like differentiating like romantic attraction and sexual attraction as well. Because I do understand like some people who want to identify as lesbians because of this, they may to a certain extent have some form of attraction to men as well. And so that's why I feel like the line is very blurred, you know, when it comes to like all these like lesbian masterdoc, bisexual masterdoc, all of that. Like, I mean, yeah, their explanations make sense and it's valid as well because it does apply to them and other people. But I feel like at the end of the day, because the lines are so blurred, sometimes it's really just based on you, you know, and how you feel and how you want to identify, you know. And I feel like it's created, all of these are created because, I mean, maybe excluding the lesbian masterdoc, because the lesbian masterdoc is really people who are like lesbian lah. But in general, it's created because people just feel this pressure and this need to fit into a box and to identify themselves and to attach a label to themselves. I feel like that's the only reason these things are created.
Yeah. But I saw another argument towards this kind of argument, which is saying about how like generally, if you look at the Sapphic community, there's more of this pressure to not label yourself. Whereas like in the MLM community, people feel it's easier to label themselves. They don't really have a very like strong like, oh, don't use labels lah, this and that, because and the reason being behind that is that a lot of people argue saying that as women we were socialized from our upbringing to always center men around stuff, so it's very hard for us to decenter men in everything that we do. Hence that's why like it can even leak into the Sapphic community where people think that, oh, it maybe am I really not attracted to men? Like there's more questioning towards that, whereas it's less of it in the men loving men community.
That makes sense.
Which I think is pretty true also, because I do think that a lot of people find it hard to I feel like for MLM men, I rarely hear someone who say they have no labels. They usually their sexual orientation is quite like they know what to say, but not to say that it's correct lah or whatever. It's just saying that like in the Sapphic community, I notice more people say that they don't have a label.
I understand. Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's harder to define lah also for women.
Yeah.
For men to a certain extent it's easier, but then also remember when we talked to Daniel and Darren, they off when we asked him about labels and everything. Daniel also doesn't really like know what label to put on himself. He doesn't feel like he's any certain type of way. Yeah.
Then again, there's another argument towards what I just said, which is that women generally are more, there's a theory that says women are generally more fluid in terms of their sexuality and romantic and sexual orientation. So that could be a reason why women feel less of a need to put a label on themselves, because women are more accepting of different forms of sexuality, something like that.
I mean, I think that does make sense also, because the thing is that women, you know how people normally don't take lesbians that seriously. It's because we don't face as much backlash when it comes to, you know, all this fluidity and everything. And in fact, it's like objectified and sexualized and all of that. But when it comes to men, right, I feel like one of the reasons why they feel the need to put a label as well is because when they finally accepted the fact that they are not conforming to, you know, the norm when it comes to like, you know, your romantic and sexual attractions, they become very like, yeah, I'm like this.
Yeah.
They have to be very like, yeah, I'm like this, because if not, they will really get hate crime for men.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Like, I don't know. I think there's with men, a lot of like the men that I've spoken to, queer men, yeah, that seems to be the case lah, where they usually seem to be very certain about what they want. But then again, it also could be that. Yeah, whereas with women, I always hear no labels very often.
Faham.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
You know, this thing about men and women kind of thing, it's like the same thing lah. Like how women, our brain is like this, it's like meshed into one, and we think about a lot of things. When it comes to men, right, they have like different boxes for everything, and there's a box in their brain for thinking about absolutely nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
have you heard of that? I feel like it's a similar situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Women, I see that's why a lot of women don't like to put labels. Like, I actually kind of get it. Yeah, because like for women, you know, the tweet, there's this funny ass tweet that says that what a man understands at 30 is what a 16-year-old girl understood when she first listened to the 1975, something like that. And it's kind of true lah. Okay, I don't fucking like 1975, but anyway, the point is like women do go through a lot of like mental gymnastics from a very, very early age.
Correct.
So for us, we question things like a lot when we were younger, and that's why I think like it's easier for women to have more room for like expansion in terms of how they think. Whereas for men, it's kind of like, oh, is this or that? Or like, is that or this or whatever.
Correct.
I've actually never heard of a man who's like, oh, I'm pansexual, I don't mind like anything, like whatever, as long as you're a person, I just like you. Like, I hear women say that a lot. For men, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm bisexual, like, oh, I'm gay.
Correct. And now that makes me wonder, like, what trans women and trans men and how they think. Because
I'm very curious too.
It's probably completely, not only just the way that they think, but it's a completely different experience altogether. Because like the way that we are like analyzing both men and women solely are just like these two demographics is already like, there's a lot of things going on. And imagine if we bring into like perspective trans people's environment, their experience, and the way that they think, and what goes on in their heads and their upbringing. I feel like it will be even more complex.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, when you talk to trans women, right, wow, the way that they think is so different, because their experience is so different. It's so fucking different. So I find it, I would really like to like sit down and like talk to a trans woman about this though.
Yeah. Wait, I want to continue reading some parts of it.
Let me check the camera.
I think the way bisexual people experience sexuality is actually a lot more nuanced than people who are like homosexual or like monosexual in a way. Because like bisexual people, like, because for us, right, it's very straightforward one, like our experience of attraction. Whereas bisexual people, it could be like, let's say I'm leaning towards this one in terms of attraction. But I also don't want to date this gender and that one. So I can see why like a lot of people who are bisexual are a lot more confused. Because like then you read stuff like the Lesbian Masterdoc and then you feel even more confused. Because your feelings are like not actually comhat. They're actually like legit, like your own genuine feelings. And of course, then again, it's very hard to tell because compat is something that affects everybody. So highly recommend to read this Masterdoc, because so far from what we've read, it seems pretty nuanced, and it seems to be answering a lot of the questions that I've heard my bi friends ask before, that they probably cannot find the answers in the Lesbian Masterdoc.
You know what? They should have all these Masterdocs compiled into one big ass book and published with a book cover design. Yeah. LGBTQ plus Masterdoc. All the letters inside.
One thing also I hear about a lot of Sapphics who are questioning their sexuality is that they will question whether they can call themselves a lesbian if they are attracted to non-binary people. Yeah, you still can actually call yourself a lesbian. Yeah, it really depends on like what you decide is for you lah. Because like, you know, if you are a TERF, you would think that attraction to non-binary people doesn't make you a lesbian. The thing is, like, I think with lesbianism, I feel like one of the biggest issues in the community that always fighting is that like people want to either gatekeep what it means, or like people feel like it's too restrictive. because there's this one time I saw this argument on Twitter where people are like, which is true lah, I don't think bisexual lesbians exist. Like, bi-lesbian is actually not a thing. If you identify yourself as bi-lesbian, you need to read either Masterdocs and figure something out for yourself. And they're saying about how like a lot of people always feel the need to like invite men into the space or anyone and not be exclusive, whereas like actually this term is made for exclusive reasons. But then some people are like, but the way you guys like, you know, go about exclusivity is like a bit too restricting, and you make people like feel very invalidated in their sexuality, etc. So there's actually like, honestly, this like lesbianism term is actually like a very debated topic in the Sapphic community.
Yeah, it's honestly very confusing, to be honest. That's why I've also kind of like given up. I was like, these labels. Obviously, I know I'm a lesbian, but I'm just like, labels, really? Labels?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand people want to have labels, you know, for validation sakes lah, but at the same time, like, validated by who? You know?
Yeah. A lot of it is like, I remember I told you I was watching that video, and then afterwards, like, they were saying like the reason why we need to have labels and be strict about like what defines a lesbian person is because then you will have men not taking lesbians seriously and think that just because we are lesbians we still like men, because a lot of these people are like, oh yeah, I will still have sex with men or whatever, but like I'll marry a woman, this and that. Then you should instead identify yourself as bisexual, because then men will stop disturbing lesbians. Like, I kind of get where they are coming from, but also at the same time your problem is with men. It's not with all these people. Go
correct.
deal with all these men.
Correct. And
I get that, yeah, like people like that, they do contribute to the problem, but at the end of the day, is you care about your validation towards men.
Yeah. No, and the thing is that like regardless of how strict you term lesbianism, how strict it is, or how unstrict or how fluid it is, men will still always be a problem. Men will still always disturb you, no matter how strict the way you define lesbianism is. They will always still disturb you one. They're still entitled. So regardless, you might as well just include like the people who are actually on the same boat as you anyway, you know? It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense lah. And like, the thing is like a lot of people also experience lesbianism very differently. Even both of us, the way we experience attraction and lesbianism is very different from each other.
Correct.
But yet we both are identifying as the same sexuality.
Yeah.
Because there are some nuances that we both find are common, even though there are like some things that are uncommon for both of us also. So really lah, I feel like sometimes I really feel like all this argument is a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, okay, I get why people are arguing about the label thing, and I get why people are pissed that it's not as exclusive as it should be, or if it's too exclusive. But then it's just kind of like,
yeah, it's like you're wasting your energy lah, seriously. Like at the end of the day, you're just queer.
You are queer, and I think this is something that like a lot of Western Sapphics don't understand, because like they grew up in a very Victorian culture kind of like view on gender and identity, whereas like, you know, if you're in Southeast Asia, you memang the culture here is a bit more fluid, and the way we understand sexuality and sexual orientation is more fluid. It doesn't have to be so restricting on things. Like, it doesn't have to be like, oh, you're a lesbian, so you must be attracted, you must be this, you must be that. It's like, it's not turfy. Actually, I've never met a turf here before. Yeah, I've never met a turf here before. It's a very interesting thing. Turfs only exist in the Western world.
Yeah. No, and the thing is that like when we listen to like, you know, Western lesbians speaking, the way they talk about trans people or trans, you know, or all these other identities is very, very different from the way that us like locals like speak, you know. When you hear their arguments, you're like, huh?
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck?
It's something that you would never imagine that you will ever hear.
Yeah.
You know, and all these like this, it comes from a very like not conservative lah. It's like a very closed off mindset. Like, you are in your own bubble, you're in your own world, and you don't know what else goes on outside of your own bubble, kind of thing, you know.
Exactly. You guys don't have enough oppression to fight. That's why you come up with other problems.
Yeah.
But here it's like everyone is kind of like facing the same issues.
Yeah.
So it's like you just have to be united.
Yeah.
The problem is not about the definition. The problem is about the country.
I think so too. Because like at the end of the day, when you see like all of these other queer people, and let's say You see another trans woman who's also a lesbian, you know, and you kind of see the shit that they go through. Like you as a queer person in Malaysia, not even a trans woman, you know, you as just a lesbian, a cis woman, you see the kind of shit you go through, and then you look at another trans woman who is also a lesbian. Can you imagine the kind of shit that they will go through? Like that's your thought process, you know.
Yeah,
And it's like
exactly.
that's the thing is that like you have more empathy towards like these kind of people lah. That's why you're not like going out of your way to exclude them and shit like that, you know. But I feel like in like some Western countries, like all these very conservative lesbians, it's because they have it good lah. They have it good, and then they don't really like imagine, and they're not empathetic towards people who are on the same boat. And to them, it's not even on the same boat because you guys aren't being attacked by one entity altogether and experiencing that same level of oppression. Like that's why y'all are just so fucking close-minded. That's what I feel lah.
That's why I don't understand like conservatism or like turf behavior in lesbians, because it's literally like it doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah. And I think like I can only think of the only reason why people are even in that kind of spectrum of lesbianism is because you guys grew up in like a very Western viewpoint of things, and your ideals of gender and sexual orientation is very Victorian era. It's very like, I don't know, everything needs a fucking strict definition between everything. Like, I mean, you guys brought this idea to us anyway, like this whole man and woman, nuclear family bullshit, Christians, all that stuff. Like, you brought
it here. You brought it to Southeast Asia.
There's none of that shit here, actually.
Yeah, before that, we were all like pretty fluid, man. Like, goddamn.
No, for real. So, yeah, that's why I feel like, you know, if we, like, for our point of view, is like, for them, they are considered like liberal or progressive, but actually sometimes I don't think it's a liberal or conservative issue. I think it's just your upbringing issue. You know? Yeah, it's just weird lah.
Because over here, when you talk about like liberal or conservative, right, it's like sometimes you think about how to differentiate that, you know.
Yeah.
Like when we heard, I remember when we heard the term liberal lesbians versus conservative lesbians.
Yeah.
We were like, what is considered a conservative lesbian? And we were like, are we conservative lesbians? Then we actually see conservative lesbians. We're like, wait, we are definitely not conservative lesbians. For us, it's not like liberal conservative or what. It's just like,
it's just homophobia.
Yeah, it's just
the gays.
Yeah.
So like homophobia versus the gays.
Yeah.
There's no like conservative lesbians versus.
Yeah, and I realized like a lot of Western countries, they have so many more terms in comparison to us. And then a lot of times these terms we also don't get it, one. We don't really like relate to it, we don't understand it, and we don't really find that the terms are applicable here in Southeast Asian countries.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I feel like it's because like I don't know what is up with y'all lah, but y'all have so many different definitions for so many different things, and y'all are like, okay, the camera died. So as I was saying, y'all have so many goddamn terms, and y'all like, oh, this person is what, that person is what, another person is what. It's like, it's so confusing, you know.
Why y'all gotta make so many goddamn terms? Don't you have a job?
It's so fucking confusing, man. Like over here, it's just like, oh, lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, this and that, drag queens, mask, femme, in-betweenies, even though the majority is all in-betweenies. So you are so confusing.
Yeah.
Western people are really confusing. And I feel like if we go to a Western country, of course lah, we'll for sure, number one, get cancelled. Number two, we'll not be able to participate in the conversation because we cannot relate to anything that they're fucking saying. You know? It's really different.
Yeah, we still out here fighting for legalization.
Yeah, no.
You guys are like out there like, oh my god. You know?
Not just that, you know, we're fighting for some of our brothers and sisters and them siblings to not get thrown in fucking prison.
Yeah.
To not be handcuffed and put in a truck and brought to the police station with a letter being given to them for them to go to conversion therapy or a ceramah or a speech to talk shit about LGBT. We're fighting for that. Like, we don't have so much fucking time to be like, this one STEM, this one that, this one conservative, this one liberal, this one trans lesbian but cannot actually be a lesbian because this person is not cis. You know, like, seriously.
Yeah, and y'all be like arguing about whether or not if you want to suck dick that makes you a lesbian or not still. Like, what the fuck?
God damn.
What is wrong with you guys? Like, I ain't got shit to say, man. But yeah, for real, like, arguing about the wrong thing lah, yo.
I guess I feel like you are arguing against the wrong people sometimes. I mean, I understand where you are coming from, like looking at your background and everything, but at the same time, right, if you all want to argue amongst yourself in the Western country, go ahead lah, but don't disturb us in the Southeast Asian country lah.
Yeah.
You know.
We just out here fighting for rights.
Yeah, we
Like,
out here.
It just be like that here.
We out here trying not to get hate crimed.
We're just trying to have events.
Yeah, without getting a raid from the police officers locally.
Yeah, trying to have a legal marriage.
For real.
Trying to have a legal adoption.
Trying to sneak our friends out from the back door when there's a police raid. That's what we're trying to
Yeah,
do.
that's what we're doing out here.
God damn.
Like, damn. But yeah, anyway.
This is what privilege brings. More problems.
Yeah, more problems.
When you're privileged, you go find more problems. When you have no problems, you want to find more problems. See lah, like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then we don't just deal with like LGBTQ plus issues. We have to deal with women of color issues. We have to deal with being a woman issues. We have to deal with racial minority issues. We have to deal with so
our
many
bad currency, our bad economy.
a lot of fucking shit to deal with. So, no, for real. That's why you don't have any fucking time to like argue all these things.
Correct.
You already got it. That's great.
Alright, good for you.
Legalize rights, legalize marriage. That's already great.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah. So
Don't disturb us lah with all your, Western, what is it called? Ideologies.
ideologies. Yeah. Keep it there.
Yeah, you all already brought it here once. And you're the ones.
Yeah. Don't
who
bring
are
that
the-
turfy
it's
shit
your
here.
problem, the penal code was your fault, yeah.
Yeah.
The penal code was your fucking fault, yeah. If it weren't for you all colonizing this fucking country, we would all be having lesbian sex and gay sex right now. We will all not be raided by police officers right now.
They will be.
They will also be gay and lesbian.
Yeah. Facts.
You know,
the Southeast Asia is the LGBTQ plus hub.
You know, it was so funny because I was telling my Christian friends about like the raids and everything, and then they were like, yeah, they were just jealous that the tickets all sold out too fast. They also want to go actually. They're just jealous they couldn't go, so they ruined the party for everyone.
Oh my god, real. But yeah, so true. But anyway, that was the Masterdoc that we just read, and we found another Masterdoc, which is Bisexual Masterdoc. So if you guys haven't read it, please read it and let us know what you think about it. Yeah.
That's the end of the episode, y'all. I'm so fucking tired. We're gonna go take a nap after this.
Yeah. So we're just reviewing the episode, and that's over now.
Okay. Bye y'all. Fuck it. Oh, wait.
Buy us coffee.
Bye. Okay, bye, y'all.
Bye.
Oh my god, I'm so fucking sleepy. I wanna take a nap.